Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well, ready to celebrate Shabbat, not just any Shabbat, but the Shabbat of creation, Shabbat Bereshit, Shabbat where it all began. We read the story of creation. We read the story of Shabbat, of the first Sabbath, of our Sabbath in the model of the divine Sabbath, of rest and not being the 6 days of creation, then Shabbat, but the 7 days of creation. Shabbat itself is part of the creative process, so essential for our own productivity, so essential for our own sense of achievement and change in the world, needing to take that step back for Shabbat as we do. And as we read the story of the creation of the world and the creation of humanity, we read also of what is so essentially human, which is mistakes, errors. There's so many points beginning in the very first Torah portion that we read. There are so many points where humans make the mistakes, beginning in the Garden of Eden. There's this fascinating story of the two great brothers of Hasidic masters, Rav Zusha of Anapoli and Rav Elimelech of Lezhinsk. And they would often speak to each other. And one time, Rav Zusha said to his brother, he said, Melech, Elimelech, we're told that in the first human, in Adam, if you will, there were contained all of the souls, all of the neshamas of the people who were yet to exist. We were all there. We're all somehow connected. Just as we all connect, we were all present at Sinai receiving the Torah, so too we were all present in Adam, within that first person. And so the brother of Zusha said to his brother of Elimelech, if that's true, if we were there, then how did we let it happen? How did we let Adam sin? And his brother of Elimelech, with such wisdom and such clarity and such insight and such creativity, said the following. He said, I'll tell you, my dear brother, you know how we let it happen? Because we had no other choice. Because the serpent was there. Do you remember the snake? And the snake said, the embodiment of Satan, said, Adam, if you eat of the tree of knowledge, of the tree of divine knowledge, v'nifkechu einechem, your eyes are going to be open, and you're going to be as wise as God. That was what the serpent said to Adam. If you eat the tree, you will have divine wisdom. You'll be as smart as God. Had Adam not eaten from the tree, you know what would have happened after hearing after hearing the snake offer that convincing argument? Do you know what Adam would have thought and what all humanity would have thought? He and all mankind after him until the end of time would have thought, if only I had eaten from the tree, I would be as smart as God. If only I would have eaten from the tree. And Rav Elimelech said to his brother Rav Zusha, we were both there in Adam. Why didn't we stop him from eating? Because to have the delusion that it's possible to be mortal and as smart as God, that's what the snake wanted us to believe we could be. To have the delusion that was possible is far more serious than committing the sin of eating the forbidden fruit. And so I let him eat it. It's a very creative answer. It's far more serious to live with the delusion that we are God. No, we have to understand that we're human. And whether or not we ate of the fruit, whether or not Adam and Eve ate of the fruit, they were never going to achieve divine wisdom. The snake was misleading them, of course. That's what the snake does. But we have to know that no matter what happens, we'll never be perfect. We make mistakes. That's the essence of what it means to be a human, and we have to have humility in that sense to understand that we're not human. One of the teachings, the words that repeats itself again and again and again within the context of the creation story, is the word tov, good. Each day it was tov, except for the second day. The word tov is absent. It appears twice in the third day, but the second day the word tov is absent. And one explanation is because there's a tradition that the second day is the day in which the angels were created. And angels, while they're wonderful, while they're perfect even, they're not the purpose of creation. Human beings are the purpose of creation with our imperfections. That's the purpose of the world existing according to the Torah. And we have humility because we know that no matter how hard we try, no matter what magical fruits we eat, we will never have divine wisdom. We'll never be as smart as God. So understanding what it means to be man is understanding what it means to be, or to be mankind is to understand what it means to be a mensch, understand our place in the world. And no matter how much we achieve, we always have humility to understand that divine wisdom, that absolute understanding is well beyond our reach. I want to share a brief story about humility that I'm always inspired by, a story about Rabbi Norman Lamb, the late Rabbi Norman Lamb, a past president and Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshiva University. And he would tell the story about his very first day on the job as president of the university. And he went to the cafeteria for lunch because he wanted to be with the people. He wanted to get a sense of how the organization runs and how the student body. And so he went to the cafeteria for lunch and he picked out his food and he brought his tray to the cashier to pay. And the cashier wanted to know what to charge him for. She asked him, do you have a discount? Are you faculty? And he said, I thought for a second, he's president. He said, no, not faculty. She said, are you a student? Maybe you're a student. You're an adult student. He said, no, I'm not a student. He said, are you a visitor? He's the president of the university. No, I'm not a visitor. She said, so if you're not faculty, and you're not a professor, and you're not a student, and you're not a visitor, then I guess you're a nobody, she said. And I think that's the lesson, that it's possible to be somebody. It's possible to achieve great things as human beings and to be a nobody at the same time, to understand our place in the world, to understand that divine wisdom is well beyond our ability as humans, and therefore we achieve what we can as humans, understand that making mistakes is part of the game, part of the human experience, but all the more so try to achieve the highest level of humanity possible, while always understanding that we are not and we cannot be and we will never be like the divine, have the knowledge of God. Stay healthy and stay well. Shabbat Shalom.
I would like to share with you one of my favorite Shabbat songs called Deror Yikra. Deror Yikra was written by Dunash Halevi ben Lavrat. Before I share it with you, I want to just give you a little bit of a background about the author, about Dunash, because he had an incredible influence on not only medieval poetry, but on the entire Hebrew language as well. And Dunash is credited with being the founder of Andalusian Hebrew poetry. He was the first who introduced Arabic meter into Hebrew poetry. And traditional Arabic poetry was built on patterns of long and short syllables. And Dunash's innovation came in drawing a parallel between the Sheva and Chataf and the Arabic short vowels. So he created, in essence, a new Hebrew meter, and this meter formed the basis for all subsequent medieval Hebrew poetry. And at the time, however, Dunash opened himself up to severe criticism. As an example of his innovation can be found in the second line of the song I want to share with you, and that is the way that he changes ne'im from what should be in the properly Hebrew, na'im, which means pleasant. In his book, he was the first Hebrew grammarian to distinguish between transitive and intransitive verbs. He also was the first to list verbs by their three-letter roots for pa'al construction, and also the first to distinguish between heavy and light roots. The debates between Dunash and others were finally decided, however, centuries after his death, by Rabbeinu Tam, who was the grandson of Rashi. And he attempted to judge between the two schools of thought. It was also attempted to be resolved by Rabbi Joseph Kimchi, father of the noted Rabbi David Kimchi, the Radak, who supported Dunash's positions. Nevertheless, many of the issues raised by Dunash have yet to be resolved today. And Dunash is remembered as a poet and a grammarian who uncovered many of the major challenges of Hebrew grammar. Deror Yikra. דרור יקרא לבן עם בת, ואם צרכם כמו בבת, נעים שמכם ולא יושבת, שבו ונוחו ביום השבת, דרוש נביא ועולמי, ועוד ישעשה עמי, נטע סורק בתוך כרמי, ששבת בני ימי, דרוך פורה בתוך בצרה, וגם בבל אשר גברה, נטוץ צרי באף עזרה, שמע קולי ביום אקרא, אלוהים אתן במדבר הר, הדס שיטה בראש תדהר, ולמזהיר ולנזהר, שלא ממתן כמי נהר, הדוך כמי אל קנה, במוג לבב ובמגינה, ונרחיב פן מעלנה, לשוננו לחרינה, דחוכמה לנפשך, והיא כתר לראשך, נצור מצוות קדושך, שמור שבת קודשך. שבת שלום.